afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this week's Team Kentucky Update. We're going to do this in two parts. First, an update on the devastating flooding in eastern Kentucky. And then second, we'll turn to economic development and other news across the Commonwealth. As a treat, we have both the National Guard, Kentucky National Guard, best guard in the country, here today to explain some of their operations, as well as the Kentucky State Police that between the two of them, so many rescues, so many people still here with us. We are grateful to them. The best news to start the morning is that our fatalities have not gone up. Thus far, we are continuing to confirm 37 fatalities in 5 counties, 8 in Breathitt, 2 in Clay, 17 in Knott, 3 in Letcher, 7 in Perry. We still believe the number will go up, but every day that passes makes it more likely that it won't go up by as much. So overall, good news. If there is a blessing when you lose 37 people, it's still only 4 children lost, which is tragic, but we thought that number was higher at one point. KSP reports that the missing persons is still at 3 that they are searching for after the flooding. One was found yesterday of the 3 from yesterday, but another came in overnight. The number remains 3, all in Breathitt County. So please remember, as that number having one person been found, which is great, they are okay. But another one coming in means this is not a solid unaccounted for number. All it represents is calls to the KSP posts, and then they go out on the wellness check. There are certainly folks that other people are likely looking for. We will put the numbers up in a minute of where to report. All right, the challenge for today is excessive heat, just like yesterday. According to the National Weather Service, temperatures will reach 95 to 100 degrees today in eastern Kentucky, and it is very humid. There are slow-moving thunderstorms that are moving that direction. The last weather update that I had was that it was likely going to be above the impacted area today, but tomorrow, chance for thunderstorms, potentially heavy rainfall. There is a slight risk for heavy rainfall tomorrow. But with all that said, wind can be just as concerning right now with the ground so saturated, trees, and think about the utility poles and others. Heavy wind could cause significant damage, and so we are watching for that. With the excessive heat, we have 11 cooling stations across Breathitt, Floyd, Johnson, Letcher, Perry, Pike, and Wolfe counties. Please, today is going to be really hot. Make sure you take breaks. Go to these cooling centers if needed. Thankfully, we have power on most places now. But if you need this assistance, please, I know we're proud people, but get somewhere cool on such a hot day. We don't want to lose anybody else. Also send out the word to our first responders that are still out there. They're going to need to take breaks today. We don't want people hurt because of how much they are helping us. Looking at shelters, 3 real types of shelters. There's emergency shelters on the county and the local basis. There's 76 in those. There are state parks. We have 293 people in our state parks now. Jenny Wiley has 172. Paintsville has 4. Pine Mountain has 2. And Buckhorn Lake State Resort Park has 115. Talked to the EM director of Perry County. He can't figure out how we got it up and running, but it is a testament to everybody who worked on it, Kentucky Power, Division of Water, Transportation Cabinet. They knew this was a critical mission. It's really only been, less than 24, 36 hours since it's been open, and we already have 115 people there. We have 68 total travel trailers that have been delivered to the region, 25 at Jenny Wiley, 25 at Mine Made in Knott County, 18 at Carr Creek in Knott County, and there are more coming. So emergency shelters, 76 people, Kentucky State Parks, 293, and then the Red Cross has 143 individuals in 6 counties across 8 shelters. So that's 500 plus people just in those that we're taking care of, and that isn't half of the overall people out there that have lost their home or at least can't be in it right now. So it's what we do in Kentucky is we take people in, family, friends, others, we take people in. Individuals seeking emergency sheltering in travel trailers can find more basic information and register at governor.ky.gov/flood resources. To qualify, you do have to register with FEMA. And let me just address something. There are a lot of rumors out there about, will you qualify for FEMA? Can you apply if you had insurance, even if you didn't have flood insurance? Will you apply if you make this amount or other amounts? Everyone needs to apply. Everyone that has been significantly impacted in those 7 counties that I'll read out again needs to apply for FEMA. It's a requirement for our travel trailer program. It's going to be a requirement for a lot of other programs. So if anybody is asking whether they should apply or they're hearing rumors about different things, yes, please apply. So in FEMA currently, renters and homeowners in Breathitt, Clay, Floyd, Knott, Letcher, Perry, and Pike counties who are affected by the severe storm, flooding, and mudslides may apply for individual disaster assistance in a couple of ways. First, you can go online, disasterassistance.gov, and start your claim. Second, you can call FEMA, 1-800-621-FEMA, 1-800-621-3362. We have mobile registration centers, and 2 have been added. We now have Floyd and Pike up. That means we have 9 mobile registration centers. As you see, here are addresses for them. Hours for the centers are 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. FEMA representatives will be at the centers to help with applications and provide information about other federal resources. When applying, it's important that you have certain information with you. A current phone number you can be contacted. I can't tell you from even state services how often people sign up for something, but then don't pick up their phone when a number comes in they don't recognize. So if you apply, you need to have a phone where you can be contacted, and you need to pick it up. It can be somewhere that you're staying if yours is gone, but we do need a phone number. Your address at the time of the disaster and where you're now staying. Your social security number, a general list of damages and losses, banking information if you're going to choose direct deposit, and if insured, the policy number or agent or the company's name. Document, document, document. Take pictures. Make sure you have as much information on your losses as possible. National Guard, who we're going to hear from in a minute. 389 Guard members supporting this mission. They have delivered 11,682 cases of water. We're going to deliver water until these counties and areas beg us to stop delivering water. As hot as it is, with as many systems that are out, we want a mountain of water there. We'll move it afterwards if we have to, but we don't want anybody going without. Also delivered 118 pallets of food, 332 meals distributed, and it is great. It is great to see the Guard, especially for folks who have been impacted, to pull up to these distribution centers and see the truck having pulled up and being unloaded is a special sight. I remember in the toughest time of COVID, hospitals overrun, people not knowing how we're going to make it. And the moment the Guard walked into those hospitals, everybody took a breath. Their spirits were raised, and we made it. So locations are posted online through the Kentucky National Guard's Facebook page and Twitter, where they're delivering. Debris removal. This is a big step. According to the Transportation Cabinet, the contract for debris removal has been awarded to Ashbrit. That is a company that will also have subcontractors all across the region. Kickoff meeting will be held today. Debris monitoring company ER Assist has been notified to mobilize, and we now even have 17 approved sites that debris can be taken to. So you have to have the contract, and they're going to have a number of subcontractors. You have to have the places to take it to it. And once that happens, Once this gets fully ramped up, you will see debris removed. At a rapid pace. When we reach this step in Western Kentucky, even the next day, you could tell an enormous difference. Team Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund, as of this morning, 24,100 donations for $3,426,962.96. First payments have already gone out. It's $120,000 in funeral payments to the families of 12 lost loved ones. This means they don't have to apply. They don't have to seek reimbursement. We find them. They've lost enough. This is us trying to put our arms around them and grieve with them. These include the funeral payments to the family of the 4 young siblings, which is a terrible and tough loss. Donation reminder. People need donations. Monetary donations help the most. Gift cards where they could get new clothes and things to the Walmart, for instance, in the area are helpful. Cleaning supplies, water, very important. But do not donate clothing. It's becoming a significant issue. So much has been provided that it is taking up too much space. In fact, we're now having to transport clothing brought in to these donation centers to other areas. I know when people are doing it, you're doing it for the right reasons. You really want to help people. But I hope we can, in the right way, get the message across that nobody wants to make it harder on one of these distribution centers. And right now there's just too much clothing that has been donated. So please donate other things, cleaning supplies, water, gift cards. And if you're worried about people having clothes, because most folks only have the clothes on their back, how about a gift card that they can take, buy what they need in their size? Water outages. Drinking water now down to 13,590 service connections without water. That's down from 18,002 yesterday. Boiled water advisories down about 4,000 service connections. It's now 41,004. Wastewater, 3 systems not operational. 14 systems under limited operation. That's down from 17 yesterday. So that means 3 are now fully operational. 2 wastewater plants are experiencing bypasses. That's down from 3 yesterday, improvement. 13 systems are experiencing discharges from portions of their collection systems. This is amazing work going on out there, as is the power number, which I hope is in here later. I mean, we're down to just 3,000 something at that. I mean, we are seeing water and power back online in areas just ravaged at a pace that I'm not sure we've ever seen. So incredible work by folks out there. Disaster unemployment assistance. Residents in 7 Eastern Kentucky counties that have been approved for individual assistance can begin applying immediately for disaster unemployment assistance. That is exciting. That means we've been approved. And so impacted residents in any of the 7 counties, Breathitt, Clay, Floyd, Knott, Letcher, Perry, and Pike, can file a claim for disaster unemployment assistance benefits online through the Kentucky Career Center website, kcc.ky.gov, or by phone, 502-875-0442. You do not need to be in person to file one of these claims, but we're going to have staff in 2 locations beginning at 7 a.m. tomorrow, which is Friday, to help claimants file for benefits. And then in each of these areas, we're setting up one-stop shops that are going to have a ton of different government help all in one place. We are real close to operationalizing that. Again, it's pretty fast to get it up and running, but we're working hard. So the first 2, starting tomorrow again at 7 a.m., this is disaster unemployment assistance, the Floyd County Community Center and the Knott County Sportsplex. Unemployment specialists will also be providing in-person assistance at the following locations. Once operations are up and running, we will make this information available when they're moving. In Breathitt County, it's going to be at that 421 Jet Drive address. That's where the FEMA is. Clay County, it's going to be at their community center. I believe that's where their FEMA is. Letcher County, their recreation center. Perry County, the Hazard Community and Technical College. And in Pike County, the old grocery store in South Jenkins. Please be aware that staff only handle disaster unemployment assistance claims at these locations. They're not going to be able to do regular unemployment claims at those locations. So if you have a regular, not a disaster, unemployment claim, you can call our regular line, 502-564-2900, or you can schedule an in-person visit. Okay, transportation. At these locations, we're also going to work to set up pop-up driver's license replacements, knowing that's one of the first things that people need. And remember, if your car has been damaged, check your insurance. Well, I know there are real challenges on the homeowner side. If you have comprehensive auto insurance, it likely covers flooding. Pop-up driver's license offices are going to start opening today. Not County Sportsplex. It's going to be the first one. That's where all these other services are. It's going to start at noon today. It's going to go through 7 p.m. Pop-up crews will also operate tomorrow at the Hazard Community College and the Letcher County Courthouse in Whitesburg. They'll be replacing licenses, permits, state IDs. No charge for any of the residents of the 13 counties who come. We're going to have pop-up offices at Jenny Wiley, Pine Mountain, and Buckhorn State Resort Parks as well. One-day visit will be Friday at Jenny Wiley. That's tomorrow. Monday at Pine Mountain, and Tuesday at Buckhorn Lake. Check our flood. Doesn't that look great? Check out our flood resources page for addresses and hours of operation. Do we have a screen grab of the page? We'll have that tomorrow just to show there's a huge number of resources on it. If you get a text or email asking you to click a link to get a waiver of the fee for a replacement credential, don't do it. It's a scam. So apparently scams going around saying that they can replace your driver's license or others. Don't do that. Go to one of the pop-up locations. Now, I want to welcome the Kentucky National Guard and the Kentucky State Police, some real incredible heroes with us today. We're welcoming the Kentucky National Guard hoist soldiers who are with us today. They include Pilot and Chief Warrant Officer 4, Travis Womer, Flight Medic Sergeant Kroll, Crew Chief Sergeant Robert Lemon, and Flight Medic Sergeant Ashley Renee. Also from the Kentucky State Police, we got a guy I know really well, KSP Captain Brad Austin, commander of the aircraft branch. He oversees all air rescue missions for the state police, and when he's not doing that, he makes sure I get places safely. We appreciate Brad. He and his team have been actively searching and rescuing, along with the Guard, people since Thursday, July 28th, almost no sleep, going out, lifting people up, getting them back to safety, and going out again. They're now focused on wellness checks and aerial coverage for damage assessment and other needs. So I'd welcome both the Guard and KSP. And let me just say, as you're on your way up, thank you. On behalf of a grateful Commonwealth, both those that live in the region and those without, thank you. These last 2.5 years, I think we've called on our Guard to do incredible things, and they have responded better than anybody could ever ask. You all are a credit to our Kentucky State Police. They're there for us in just about any and every situation we could ever ask for. Let's welcome these heroes. That's what it sounds like when there's only 12 people in here.
Just go ahead.
Yeah. How are you?
So I'm Sergeant Lemon. I'm one of the crew chiefs of the medevac here in Frankfort, Kentucky. We have Renee, Wilmer, and Kroll. So the Kentucky National Guard had aircraft conducting missions in the affected flood areas. This includes reconnaissance, communication, and hoist operations. We were part of the overall. There were 78 hoist operations that took place in eastern Kentucky. The UH-60 Blackhawk is the Army's utility tactical transport helicopter. Its mission is to provide air assault, general support, aeromedical evacuation, which is what we do. Kentucky National Guard medevac crews took part in over 78 hoist operations that took place in Eastern Kentucky. It is important to note that we are neighbors helping neighbors. The special thing about the National Guard is that we live here too, so it's personal when we take part in these missions. We would like to thank Tennessee, West Virginia for responding like they did.
This is a special group of folks that live in your community, but just did something that I'm not sure that we've ever seen. 1,300 plus rescues in a short period of time, pulling people from the tops of roofs that are the only thing left, hundreds of feet into the air, getting them to safety. Absolutely incredible work. People have seen the videos, just astounding. The capabilities, the expertise of these amazing guardsmen and women. So on behalf of Kentucky, thank you all so much. How about some great news that happened since this press conference started? KSP just found another person on their missing persons group, so we are down to 2. Also, transportation time at the Sportsplex has changed. It's now today from noon to 5 p.m. So in recognition of all first responders, we're going a little out of order, and we're naming the Kentucky National Guard hoist team and the KSP aircraft branch as this week's Team Kentucky All-Stars. And I know that those that are here are representing everyone else as well. Thank you for your bravery and your hard work in rescuing people. You are for sure Team Kentucky All-Stars, and we want to continue to do everything we can to respond and help those in need in this situation. I also want to specifically mention the Lexington Fire Department Swiftwater crew and the mobile ambulance bus crew as all-stars this week as well. I'm on my way to visit them shortly. I think we're going to make about 50 Kentucky Colonels while we're there, so if we need to call them into service again, we'll be ready. I also want to thank Emergency Medical Service, paramedics, firefighters, Kentucky State Police, local police and emergency responders, Department of Fish and Wildlife, Kentucky Emergency Management, the whole rest of the Guard that's out there, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, Kentucky Emergency Management, community support providers, and everybody out there working to help their fellow human being. What a difference a number of days makes. And once again, thank you to all those first responders. All right, now we're going to turn to what would traditionally be our Team Kentucky update and how we start. That's other news going on in the Commonwealth. And, we have to do two things here at once. We have to help people get back on their feet. We have to rebuild Eastern and Western Kentucky that have been hit so hard. And at the same time we're doing that, we have to provide a bright future for all Kentuckians, knowing that one of the things that gives hope to all these regions are jobs and new jobs. And this week we had 2 spectacular announcements and one grand opening. So during last week's meeting of the Kentucky Development Finance Authority, private sector companies were approved for state incentives and new locations in amounts exceeding $1 billion and 800 new full-time jobs. It means we had $1 billion month for economic development last month. Hopefully that's a piece of good news that picks us up just a little bit. These projects cover so many of our key industries as well, including automotive, bourbon, metals, aerospace, agriculture, logistics, and general manufacturing. Today, we're going to note 2 incredible companies that are continuing to grow our electric vehicle industry. First up is Ascend Elements Incorporated, a producer of advanced sustainable battery materials made from recycled lithium-ion batteries. Company leaders are investing $310 million and creating 250 full-time jobs with a phase 1 investment at a new facility in Hopkinsville, Commerce Park 2. And this is just the start. With future phases, this project has the potential to grow to over $1 billion, creating more than 400 jobs. This will be the largest U.S. operation for Ascend Elements, and it is the largest single private sector investment in the history of Christian County. And it further positions us, Kentucky, as the electric vehicle battery production capital of the United States of America. This facility, which will be known as Apex One, will perform the company's innovative hydro to cathode process, which generates non-toxic waste and minimal carbon emissions. The operation is expected to produce enough material to equip up to 250,000 electric vehicles each year. The project also adds to Ascend's existing partnerships with established companies like American Honda Motor Company and SK Battery America. The Hopkinsville plant will employ engineers, chemists, warehouse associates, and manufacturing operators, and is expected to come online in 2024. It's an amazing project for us. This is a big deal. It is a big win for Kentucky. It gives us a great new private sector partner that, at least based on my conversations today, I think will be an amazing partnership that will only grow. Company leaders anticipate the new location will create $4.4 billion in economic impact for the Commonwealth through construction in the first 10 years of operations. This company already has such a great reputation in the industry, and their location here is going to further lift us up. The company's been supported with an investment from the National Science Foundation Center for Resource Recovery and Recycling, as well as the SBIR STTR seed funding. I cannot overstate the significance of this project building on our growth. Ascend Elements is a leader in EV battery recycling. Its leaders could have located anywhere in the United States, and they picked us. So I want to thank them for having faith in us, and I want them to know we will not let them down. Now I want to welcome Roger Lynn, Vice President of Marketing and Government Relations at Ascend Elements, to come up and talk a little bit about this incredible project. Roger.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Governor Beshear. And so at Ascend Elements, I'd like to thank everybody on behalf of the company for their hospitality. We've worked very hard with several groups around Southwestern Kentucky, including the Southwestern Kentucky Economic Development Council here in Hopkinsville, as well as the Cabinet for Economic Development here in Frankfort. Everybody's been really wonderful, very helpful, very responsive, and it's been a great experience. So we're really happy to locate our flagship Apex One facility in Kentucky. As Governor said, we will be producing lithium-ion battery cathode materials at this factory. It'll be the first of its kind facility in the country. The twist that we have is that we will be manufacturing these materials from recycled lithium-ion batteries. And so an important part of our site selection process was to find a location that met our requirements. One key requirement is the proximity to EV and battery companies in the U.S. And it turns out there's a growing nexus of these companies in the southeastern part of the United States and of course, here in Kentucky. And so that checks off that first box for us. We're also wanting to be close to our Base One facility. This is sort of the sister facility, the front end of our operations. Base One facility will be taking in end of life and manufacturing scrap from lithium-ion factories and converting into something we call black mass. It's a very valuable black powder coming out of a used lithium-ion battery that then gets fed into Apex One, where it'll be transformed into these lithium-ion battery cathode materials, which are the most important and most valuable materials in a lithium-ion battery. And so, being close to Apex, being close to Base One is a key part of that, of our requirements. And then finally, we were looking for a location with good access to transportation, rail transport, as well as highway transport, good access to clean renewable power, and also access to a diverse workforce. And Hopkinsville checks all those boxes for us. So we're really thankful for that. We looked at over 50 potential sites for Apex One, and finally settled on Hopkinsville. Hopkinsville was at the lead of the pack ever since the beginning, so we're happy to finally have made that decision to come to Hopkinsville. So in addition to bringing 250 jobs initially and potentially over 400 jobs with expansion phases, we're going to be looking at putting workforce development programs in place to help prepare the community in and around Christian County to take advantage of the jobs that we'll be creating. We'll also be looking to affordable childcare and affordable transportation initiatives to help those workers reduce the burden of keeping those jobs and holding them for the long term. So we've got a lot of plans. We're really happy to be part of the community in Hopkinsville and just ready to get started and get to work. Thank you.
We appreciate it. And we have one more gift for you that
thank you very much.
Economic Development will present.
Thanks.
Thank you. So Hopkinsville is a real special community. And there's another special community just on the other side of the Pennyrile from Hopkinsville, and that's Dawson Springs. When I learned about this announcement, it was Monday, and we were certainly had been in all the areas that had flooded, and then we were taking a day to be in Mayfield and the area hit by the tornadoes, proving our commitment that after 7 months we were still going to be there. And when I learned that 250 jobs were coming that close to Dawson Springs, it was a pretty special moment. That's going to help make sure that not only Hopkinsville, but that community can thrive in the future. It's going to help to have those jobs there and the rebuilding of it. So this one is pretty personally special to me. Next, we have a major announcement this morning of another supplier to the EV market locating in the Commonwealth, and this just came out this morning. Latte Aluminum is a producer of cathode foil, an ultra-thin material and a core element used in the production of EV batteries. It is one of 4 major components used in lithium-ion batteries and a crucial piece in determining capacity and voltage. They are locating in Elizabethtown with an amazing $238.7 million investment. That means today we're talking about $500+ million, almost 550, and they're creating 122 full-time jobs for our residents. The facility will be located on 40 acres at the T.J. Patterson Industrial Park. This will be the company's first aluminum foil production facility in the U.S., and company leaders anticipate demand is going to increase by an average of 32% annually every year by 2030. This is a terrific project for a lot of reasons. The announcement represents another success for our pilot PDI program, that is the Product Development Initiative program. In 2020, the Hardin County site was the very first to be approved for PDI funding from the state to assist with infrastructure upgrades. I look forward to the company being in operation by 2025, and I want to thank their leaders for their faith in us right here in Kentucky and for knowing that we are going to make sure that they are successful. As I tell all the companies, and we just told Ascend, we will not let you down. When we give our word, it is our bond, and we follow through. We create partnerships that last for life, and we're going to make sure that each of these companies that are prime examples of our economic momentum are just further testaments to what can happen when a company locates here. You think about within the last year having announced the largest 2 economic development projects in our history, Ford and SK Innovations Blue Oval SK Battery Park and Envision AESC in Warren County. You think about last year being the best economic development year by almost every metric in our history. And this year looks like it might turn out being our second. We're not only now seeing the battery manufacturers, we're seeing the supply chain that we talked about locating right here in Kentucky. Finally, I want to recognize Flotwig Separation Technologies' recent groundbreaking for the company's new warehouse in Boone County. Lieutenant Governor got to attend that. I was planning on being there, but that day was in Eastern Kentucky with our families. The project was announced in May of this year. It includes a $1.75 million investment that creates 12 high-wage jobs. The investment in the company's Northern Kentucky operation, which assembles and repairs machinery for the company's existing customer base, and it's going to support the construction of a new 15,000 square foot warehouse facility that's going to be in operation Q1 of 2023. This company's established itself in the Northern Kentucky community over the last 15 years. This adds to their existing workforce, shows further belief in us and ensures those other jobs are going to stay too. This is the company's fourth expansion since 2011. It's these types of commitments from quality employers reinvesting in themselves and our communities that make us a special place to do business. This week's groundbreaking event was a great reminder that even in the toughest of days, there is opportunity ahead. As we look at our challenge of helping our people, rebuilding their lives, rebuilding communities, having good jobs out there, gives people the confidence that they will make it. We will make it. And there are better days ahead. So like we mentioned last year, the best year for economic development in our history. This year, looking like it will be number 2. 2 of the rating agencies upgrading our economic outlook to positive for the first time in over 15 years. Lowest unemployment rate in the history of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, 3 straight months. Fewest people on unemployment since the year 2000. 6th in Site Selection Magazine's annual prosperity rankings. Number 1 in per capita economic development in our region. Number 3 in the country, according to Site Selection Magazine. And having budget surpluses of over $1 billion the last 2 fiscal years. First 2 times that's ever happened in the Commonwealth, and the largest rainy day fund in our history. Now $2.7 billion. It was $129 million when I came into office. Shows there is a bright economic future out there. We just got to help those in need and also deal with the challenges of the present. Now let's turn to an exciting announcement for our nonprofits. Kentuckians rely on over 20,000 nonprofits, and a ton of them right now are in Eastern Kentucky helping. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many had to close or reduce services. That was not only devastating for them, but for the communities they serve. Today, I'm happy to announce some relief is on the way. Starting this week, Kentucky nonprofits can apply for relief up to $100,000 per eligible organization through the $75 million Team Kentucky Nonprofit Fund. These are federal American Rescue Plan Act dollars allocated by the 2022 General Assembly to assist nonprofits in their recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Danielle Clore, CEO of the Kentucky Nonprofit Network, led advocacy efforts, somebody I've been talking to a lot these last 2.5 years to make sure as many of these nonprofits could make it. We have a video today from Danielle.
Nonprofits are Kentucky's 3rd largest private sector employer, and in addition to being a vital part of the Commonwealth's economy, this relief funding will help many continue to meet the needs of Kentuckians and our communities. Some nonprofits need funds to simply keep the lights on, pay utility bills, rent, address overdue building maintenance, and more. Other nonprofits will use funds to try to get some programs and services back up and running again. Many organizations have had to scale back or close programs entirely because of staffing and other costs, which has been challenging given the demand for services. While these are one-time funds and won't solve the crisis facing many of Kentucky's nonprofits, unrestricted relief is incredibly helpful and ultimately benefits the Kentuckians that nonprofits serve.
Nonprofits can apply at the Team Kentucky nonprofit.ky.gov website. As of today, already 407 applications for more than $20.3 million have been applied for. All right, with everything that we've been dealing with, we haven't talked about inflation in a week or so. It is still one of the toughest challenges facing our families. Worried about being able to pay the bills at the end of the week with food and medicine and gas. Thankfully, we are seeing some positive news as gas prices continue to drop and are dropping faster in Kentucky and are lower in Kentucky than just about anywhere else in the country. In the last month, gas prices in Kentucky have dropped 70 cents. And even better news for Kentuckians, our gas rate is about 40 cents below the national average. According to AAA, the national average for gas is $4.14. Here in Kentucky, it's $3.74. We are in the lowest category for retail prices across the country. So listen, it's still too high. It is going in the right direction. It's dropping at least a couple cents every single day, and we want it to continue to do so. I know diesel is still really high, also dropping, but not at the same rate. So this is a good sign. But I want to remind people that there is other help, and we have taken other actions. In February, I froze the rate on vehicle property taxes for 2 years. It's going to save Kentuckians $340 million. In February, I supported legislation to cut the sales tax from 6 to 5%. That ultimately was not passed by the General Assembly. That even temporarily would have added another $873 million. In March, I joined 6 other governors in sending a letter to congressional leadership asking them for relief of the federal gas tax. They haven't done that. In June, I filed an emergency regulation that froze the state gas tax. It was going to go up. State law was going to make gas more expensive, and we could not allow that to happen. That saved Kentuckians $35.4 million. And I've asked the EPA to do a couple of different things. Relax the reformulated fuel requirement and or allow a butane mix. At this time, they have not said yes, but it would reduce the price of gas, at least in certain areas. In addition, we have a couple of funds and programs that people need to remember because they can help you. So I'm reading stories about evictions going up. We still have money in the Team Kentucky Healthy at Home Eviction Relief Fund. Now, applications to this are going up, and that is a good thing. You can get back rent and future rent through this program. So nobody should be evicted while we still have over $100 million between the two programs that are there. The Homeowners Assistance Fund is one where, as opposed to renters, which is the Eviction Relief Fund, this helps you if you're struggling with your mortgage or with other fees related to it. The Affordable Connectivity Program, that's a $14 billion program from the federal government where you can get about $30 a month towards internet. And this is $30 if you qualify every single month. That won't solve the problem, but will help. There's still a lot of money left in the federal program. The Kentucky Child Care Assistance Program helps eligible families pay for child care. The Prescription Assistance Program, if you qualify, can certainly help. And the Medicare Prescription Drug Plan Costs, this is a new resource this week. It helps lower drug costs for qualified individuals. You can visit the website that we have online in Tips to Save to learn more. Another piece of good news in our economy, Kentucky's tourism, a huge economic driver across our Commonwealth, is very close to reaching pre-pandemic levels. Today, we're announcing the 2021 economic impact numbers. Let me tell you, they are impressive. In 2021, tourism exceeded expectations with an economic impact reaching $11.2 billion. Even better, it generated over 83,000 jobs. Travel confidence rebounded to Kentucky, with total visitation recovering to approximately 96% of the 2019 volumes. Those are people, even in a continuing pandemic, who want to travel to Kentucky. Now 96% already of pre-pandemic levels. Visitation to Kentucky finished strong, with visitor travel generating $808 million in state and local taxes, which is a $462 tax savings for every household in Kentucky. Even more, we've invested more than $13.1 million in the tourism industry early on, and then just had that $75 million program. 2021 tourism development projects totaled $301 million in project advancement. A lot of that is new bourbon experiences, a boutique lodging experience, and a horse racing experience. All right, quickly, because we haven't done it in 3 weeks, I want to go over COVID. Let's show the map first. This is not a good map. It shows we have a whole lot of COVID. It is spreading significantly. Let's look at the stair-stepper chart. You know, this has been less reliable than it was in the past because of the number of home tests. What we know is that there are a lot of cases out there. Everybody out there knows someone that has COVID right now or just got over it. There may be some hope, though. For the first time in months, the positivity rate actually dipped. It had been going up. And remember, this isn't impacted by floods in eastern Kentucky. This is a percentage of the tests that are actually administered. This has thus far been a leading indicator, though again, with at-home tests, not the same metric that it used to be, but certainly we want to keep watching. And if this starts going down, it may mean that we have or are close to peaking in our levels of COVID. This variant that's out there right now is one of the fastest spreading in human history, and how many people that you can spread it to. But it's not going to last forever. And certainly we expect that we will see another dip like we have in the past. And I know with kids going back to school, we'd like to see that sooner rather than later. Of concern, our hospitalizations are going up and continue to go up. We were in the best place we'd been in the pandemic. We are not there anymore. So if you are a vulnerable Kentuckian, be it age or health conditions, you really need to be vaccinated. You really want to consider wearing that mask. Vaccinations are up. They are 3 to 4 times. All right. We have another piece of news on the flooding since we started. It's also good news. Owsley County has just been qualified for individual assistance. That's going to mean families there can get direct payments for their loss. So 2 pieces of good news since we started. We found one of the people that are missing, and Owsley County qualified for IA. Let's see the ICU graph. That is my worst transition ever. Again, lower than certainly in other spikes in COVID, like the one we're in, but a increase that should create some concern. Ventilators still pretty low. Still pretty low. The severity of illness from this variant is less than Omicron and Delta and even Alpha. It hits you in a different place in your system, so less of a need for ventilators. Okay, that's a lot today. So we'll open it up for questions. 2 journalists in here with us. We'll start with Anna Latek.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon. Have there been any updates from affected counties in Eastern Kentucky as far as school? What's going to happen? This is hitting right at the beginning of the year for a lot of school systems. Has Department of Education come out and said anything? Are they providing assistance to a lot of the schools? Because I know several, especially in Perry County and Breathitt County, have been hit very hard.
So when looking at schools, there's 2 things. Number 1, there's damage assessments, and number 2, there's when school going to start. I don't have the information in front of me, but I think 2 school systems, if not 3, have announced a delayed start, but have announced dates that school will start. At least 1, no, I think it's probably 4 schools totaled. And think about when we build a new school, what that costs. That's significant work. In not counting, I think just the cleanup was over $1 million in costs that they were facing just in the beginning. Talk to legislative leaders. We are all committed to providing funding for our school system and working through a package like the SAFE Act that we did for Western Kentucky. But school damage is in the tens of millions, probably over 100 million when we look at it just for those impacted schools. Good conversation today with area legislators. They were having different ideas about different ways to potentially help if and when we have a special session, working on what that would look like. Carolina.
Governor, I have 2 today. On
Okay.
Eastern Kentucky, have we moved away from search and rescues at this point? Are we calling it something different? Essentially, what is that effort being called? And then switching gears, the U.S. Department of Justice today announced federal charges in the Briana Taylor case. The community has been calling for justice in this case for a long time now. Do you believe this is a step towards justice?
I've not had a chance to review the federal charges that came out today, and to review the elements of what it takes for those. That's something that I'll be able to do, I hope, later today, and could potentially have comment then. But as a former prosecutor, I want to make sure I have all the information first. Eastern Kentucky, primary search and rescue has been completed. That doesn't mean that there aren't a couple of places that we are still looking for people, but the primary operations are done, though we're keeping everybody that is on the ground until the weather passes tomorrow, in case we would have to make additional rescues because of the precipitation that could happen in some areas. Now we are, I would call it more stabilizing people. Think about wellness checks. Think about going to check on people that may be stranded across their creek, but otherwise are unhurt. Of trying to get people into housing for the next week, and then what do we do for the next 6 months? The search and rescue here has been a Herculean effort. The primary mission has been completed, which is pretty special. But remember, there are still some people that are stuck, though not necessarily in need of rescue. Tom Latek, Kentucky Today.
There, finally got the button there. You kind of caught me. Let's go back to COVID for a second. The numbers that came out Monday showed drops in several metrics. And I think you just mentioned briefly something about the effect that the floods had on that. But we also had, new cases went down, as well as the positivity rate, deaths. I think there was, a couple others. How much of that do you think is due to the floods? And have you gotten any idea on where we're going with it?
So if you look at the stair stepper for cases, this could have been impacted, though, when the floods hit was mid to late week. This one, it's possible. Positivity rate, it wouldn't be impacted by the flooding, because this is just, of however many PCR tests there were, how many came back positive. So, if I'm looking for hope in where we are right now, I'm looking at this slide, though we typically want to see at least 2 weeks to think that there is a trend. With a virus, a variant that spreads as fast as this one, I think everybody expects there to be a peak and then a decline. The faster it spreads, the sooner you get to the decline, but that also means more people have COVID. The good news is it doesn't cause as severe of illness. The bad news is so many people are getting it that we are seeing more bad outcomes than probably the last variant that came through in between Omicron and this subvariant, which is at least our second subvariant of Omicron. Josh James, WKY.
Thanks, Governor. Switching gears a little, any updates on your outreach to Steel Dynamics? And I guess tying this back to the flooding, do extreme weather events like this one we're seeing create their own challenges in bringing major projects to areas that might be prone to the kind of disasters we're seeing?
We haven't seen an economic development impact from that. I mean, we don't have any data that would suggest that it is preventing any major economic development project. In fact, if you look at Lion First Responder in Beattyville, Lee County didn't get flooded nearly the same. Beattyville certainly didn't get flooded. They made the PPE that the firefighters in Mayfield were wearing the night of the tornadoes that helped protect them, and then even replace them. What was the first part of the question? Oh, Steel Dynamics. We have made contact, and we are talking. They're going to be looking at a number of different areas. I do think we're at least going to have the opportunity to present, and we are grateful for that. Beyond that, any discussions are at this point confidential. They need to be able to have trust in us, but we have at least opened a dialogue, and I'm grateful for that. Al Cross, Kentucky Health News.
Thank you, Governor. The folks who opposed the abortion amendment on the ballot this fall were very encouraged by the results of the Kansas referendum. And since you also opposed that amendment, I wondered what you took out of the Kansas referendum and the estimate by the New York Times, a state-by-state estimate, that 53% of Kentuckians would support abortion rights in a referendum similar to the one in Kansas this week.
So I believe that most Kentuckians view the current state of reproductive health in Kentucky as extremist. I believe that people should go thinking about that constitutional amendment with regards to the trigger law that we currently have. Because if that constitutional amendment passes, it will make the trigger law constitutional if it is not. The trigger law is, I think, the most extremist in the nation. It outlaws options in every single circumstance except for the life of the mother. It means that rape victims have no options. It means that victims of incest have no options. As Attorney General, we saw cases of young kids, not even teenagers, 12 years old, raped and impregnated. They deserve options. And I think the vast majority of Kentuckians agree. Current state that we're under right now is extremist. And I don't think most people out there like extremism. Eleanor McCrary, the Courier-Journal. McCrary.
Hi there. Thank you so much. I was just wondering if you had any information on when identities of the 37 people who passed in the flood might be released, as well as any advice for people to prepare for the coming storms this weekend.
So the typical practice is that the coroners will provide the names and other information. We didn't produce that, to my knowledge, after the tornadoes. I do know coroners are producing some of that information after they make contact with the families. It's tough to lose 37 people and of course 81 in the tornadoes and 17,000 in the pandemic. It's been a tough time in Kentucky. Was there another part of that question? I think I got it. Chad, I'm sorry. Coming storms. I apologize, Eleanor. It's been a long 7-8 days. Be weather aware. My goodness, be weather aware. And when we get a better picture, especially of when it could hit tomorrow, don't be in a place during that time that flooded significantly before. Make sure you are safe. You know, this has been hard. People just wiped out. Too many people lost, and we don't want to lose one other person. So in the very least, for that period of time, go stay at a place that is safe, be weather aware, err on making sure you're protected. Chad Hedrick, WKYT.
Hey there, Governor. I'm talking to a woman who lived near the Breathitt-Perry County line, right on Route 15, and I know you've seen the devastation there just the other day.
Yeah.
She says that she's under the impression she's not getting good vibes, that she's going to be getting much help from FEMA, and I've seen similar comments from people saying that they've been denied. What advice do you have to those people, and also what conversations are you having with federal officials to make sure these families are getting some assistance?
She lives on that road between Perry and Breathitt County on the way into Jackson. Oh my goodness. It is one of the most devastated areas. Hard to describe. Everybody needs to apply for individual assistance for FEMA that has been impacted in these counties, and do not give up. If you're initially denied, appeal. Don't stop. We are talking to FEMA officials. I even mentioned to the president, we'll be having more of these conversations, that more people have to qualify for FEMA. The rates from the West are far too low. They are unacceptable. Talked to the regional administrator this morning and yesterday. We have been very clear on that. We are also trying to gather information the same time FEMA is, so that we can have the data that we need. But tell her, do not give up. keep pushing. And if you are denied, first of all, go in to one of our facilities, look somebody face to face, make sure you know all those reasons and that you appeal. I think a lot of what happens is people get online and may answer one question wrong unintentionally. We don't want that to prevent people from getting it. And I will tell you, we are going to push and push and push for better FEMA results in terms of individual assistance. Tessa Duvall from the Herald Leader.
Hi, Governor. 2 questions. First of all, do you have any estimates at this point in regards to how many homes or structures have been lost as a result of the flooding? And second, to change topics a bit, as a former Attorney General, I know that you have not looked at the indictments yet, but does it raise any alarms to you that the feds have come in and found 4 officers to indict in the Briana Taylor case, where the state prosecution and the Attorney General's office did not deliver those same results with the same investigation?
Well, certainly the federal indictment are on federal charges. I think what you would look at, and I haven't had the opportunity now, are there similar charges under state law? And I think that's how you would make the comparison there. Remember, these are only charges. This is the start of a process, though it does mean that there has been significant investigation. But that would be the apples to apples comparison that I would make that I have not done at this point. Estimate on homes, FEMA is working through different public and individual assessments in all these areas. I don't have a firm number for you, but I do believe we will in the coming days have an estimate for that, and probably an overall estimate for public damage, roads and infrastructure. Divya Karthikeyan. Did we lose Divya?
Hi, Governor.
Yeah.
Right here. Just have 2 questions. One on, you did talk about the fact that we're going to need a special session in the months to come, if not sooner. Has there been any progress on that? I know it's just been a day, but are there any discussions on that since you've said there's been interest? My second question is, I know that you haven't had a chance to look at it, but I'm wondering if the DOJ charges will spark any changes, at the state level in terms of public safety and law enforcement that you're thinking about?
Haven't had a chance again to get enough information on the DOJ action. I would think anytime, though, that we receive information, we look at it and see if we can improve any process. I think that's what people should do across any profession. Special session, yes, there have been discussions. We have had put together some drafts for review from the legislature, had a call this morning with the legislators in the impacted area. They gave a lot of really good feedback, really constructive conversation about unique needs that may be here that weren't in the West, or different ways to try to make this the very best piece of legislation we can. Stu Johnson, WEKU. Are you there, Stu? All right, so we'll get to Stu's question individually. Everybody out there who's on the ground is tired. They're muddy. They have been at this for days upon days upon days. And I know they go from sad to angry to determined and back again. Please take care of yourself. And for everybody that's offering help, taking donations, make sure you're a shoulder to lean on. Listen to the experience of folks. Make sure you're there for the first responders too. They are really tired. But what you'll see is what I've seen. We are amazing people that love each other, that will do anything to help our neighbor. Thank you all.